Well, no one expected that we'd have a international, you know, things going on.
No, wasn't expected.
At least they didn't tell Congress, let's.
The event is coming together very well now.
Who does?
You guys will be very happy with the production. It's
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Are we ready? Ready? All right, let's start our work session. Today is Monday, March 2nd. March already. It's approximately 1 o'clock. This is our weekly meeting. Commissioner Gage Ford with me is Commissioner Jim Harvey to my right, Commissioner Sharon Bolus to my left. Our first item of business, Commission, is Commissioners' discussion and or action for approval of the minutes for the commission work session held on February 23rd, 2026.
Well,
To approve.
You have a second?
second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Let's go over our 1 PM. Agenda item 2, discussion regarding road repairs at the fair. We have with us Mr. Todd Ferrario. I don't see Marty here.
Marty is in a budget meeting for World Curling.
Don Wilkinson, Mr. Cortland Erickson, and we have Mr. Chris Crockett with us as well. Okay, Todd, you're first listed.
Yes, I approached Sean about potentially using Prop 1 to help us maintain, repair the road that goes kitty corner from Harrison to 1200 through the fairgrounds. During the week. Harrisville Road.
Thank you.
So,
Harrisville Road.
during the week, we're probably 80% commuters that are using that as a connector from the two public roads. And we've thrown the idea of closing the gate halfway through. It's going to cause chaos. So I approached Sean and said, is there any chance? We have chip sealed it a number of times and done some repairs. That S curves that go through Riverdale Pavilion, that road wasn't built for the amount of cars that are going through there in that style of traffic. We need to do some better repairs or we're going to lose that road. So I went and said, is there a chance this would be Prop 1? He sent me to Cortland. Cortland gave me a lot of information, of which half of it I didn't understand, but we'll just go with that. But there is some leeway for a connector. It's not a classified road, but as a connector from two public roads. So when he said that, I again talked to Sean, and Sean said, let's bring it to the commission. He thinks it was a great idea and put me to speak for you, but
Yeah.
that's where we are. So
Okay, do we have an estimate on cost? You talking about a total replacement or overlay? What?
not a total
It's
replacement.
an R&R, isn't it?
Yep. There's a couple areas right in the turn that have some fairly major spidering that we probably need to pull some out, cap those areas, and then go through and do an overlay on it. That was a suggestion by Joe and Jared Klontz. But we don't have a complete cost because they're gonna come out and do a better analysis on it.
Okay, we'll do it inside.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, we'll do it in-house and we would use Prop 1 funds
Okay,
if approved.
so you're looking for an okay?
That's what we need.
They're looking for an okay.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Okay, looks like you got an okay.
As long as you give him the okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. So this summer, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this spring, the way the weather is, it's almost summer now.
You know, Joe does a great job of trying to fit everything that we need in. So once we get the go ahead, we'll get with Joe and they can look at their schedule and kind of our event schedule. And I would imagine they'll do the patch pieces first and the overlay itself will be quick. Cause they can go end to end and then we'll get it striped too.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I like it.
if you'd like us to proceed that way, I'll talk to Joe and off we go.
I think you got go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep those roads going, before they fail.
Yeah.
That becomes a
You
lot
get to
more.
a point that we're gonna have to dig out substructure if it gets
Yeah.
too bad and we're not quite there.
Good.
But that really sharp corner, especially up against the defense depot fence, right? That one's pretty bad.
Yeah,
So we've fixed parking lots, we did a bunch of work. Roads came in, did a really nice job around the new loping area. Great to work with, so.
okay, perfect. Get it done.
There we go.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for keeping an eye on that.
Back to curling.
Okay. Okay, Sean, we got Chad coming up, Gary.
Yes. Yep, they should be up here in just a minute.
I want you to know that Moki tested higher than anybody else that day.
That's what Chad told me. He said, yeah.
Boy, what a good, if you don't draw him, Gage, he's a great bull.
He's kind of a, he's
He's-
kind of a homebody now.
Well,
No, we need to do that.
you do, you need to,
So he tested high?
he tested higher than anybody.
Really?
We had everybody there. We had people from
Oh, really?
all over the whole northern Utah there. So,
I gotta ship him to Logan for that. Did you tell me?
uh, yeah, let me see if I can't figure something else to help you with that.
Hey, I had a calf yesterday.
From your brother's cow?
No, from the one that I inherited from Colby and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Healthy?
very healthy.
Good day to have a calf.
Yeah, very good. Other than it rained a little bit, but she was, I don't know if it's a he or she, but yeah. Stood up and stayed out of the mud. So it's good shape,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Did you get your mountain lion problem taken care of?
Well, I haven't heard from my neighbors that anybody's lost any more cows, and my cows are all still alive. So I think maybe it headed, either they got it or it headed back to the hills.
Yeah. If you have more problems, call Mr. Keo. He will go up and get it. for
He'll
you.
get it.
Yeah.
Really?
That's
You'll
good.
get a
Yeah.
nice cat out of it.
I didn't know he was a hunter.
Oh, yeah.
I
Really?
didn't know he was a
and
hunter.
Not just a hunter, a trapper.
Trapper.
Does he like coyotes?
Oh, yeah. He took me over to that trapping store over by, I can't remember where it is, but the smell of it was so bad. But
Where's this trapping school?
Sneeze.
I'll have to get the address for you. It's this little like shack.
Well, I don't think you want to trap this thing. You want to shoot.
Yeah. He's caught one before in a.
He has?
Yep.
And kept it alive?
He's got video of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept it alive? Or-
No, he killed
No,
it.
he
Oh.
got rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's alive when he's videoing it. It's not happy.
He's got badgers, he's got all kinds of things in those traps.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a mountain man,
Yeah, he came and taught my youth group at church,
did he?
the young men and young women about trapping. It was really cute.
Oh, good for him. Does he trap beaver?
He wants to.
I'll have to keep an eye. I think we got some beaver up on my river. He wants to come up.
He would love the opportunity.
So they were getting into my pond. It's been about a year ago. Maybe 2 years.
Really?
Put out 3 traps.
$170,000.
Woke up one morning, all 3 traps were gone.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, they were attached to not big trees, but inch and a half, 2 inch. Never thought anything about it. I thought some person just walked by and took my traps. About, probably a month later, all of a sudden, from below the surface comes up this carcass with 3 traps on it. With about probably an 85 to 90 pound beaver. It was
Really?
biggest one I've ever seen. Yeah.
Well,
He would have loved, I mean, it would have been nice to
Yeah,
have that.
I'll send him up and at the minimum, you guys can talk story. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
Did you notice my pigeon there?
Yeah.
I noticed, what's he talking about?
Talk story.
Okay, there's Chad. Welcome, Chad. We're ready to go on our next item, right on time. This would be the impact fee amendment. You're up.
Yeah, so just real quickly, here is some information on it. So in doing the impact fees and with development, it always kind of switches around quite a bit. And so
There we go. I thought they were the same.
we
Okay.
had another development come in. It's kind of the north. It was the old Cherokee River, and we thought that kind of went away, but now it's Loman View, so it's kind of back in the picture,
So is that the one along the river?
kind of along the river. Excuse me, at the end of 3600 West.
Yeah.
Very
What's it
north
called?
end. So now it's called Loman View.
Okay.
So they've submitted it and they look like they're gonna be going through with this. And so what we've got before you is we'd like to amend the impact fees to include that area too for the sewer. So we'd actually have them look at the lift station in that area Ensign would do the study on it, and then Zions would finish it off. So we're looking to do an amendment on it right around $5,500. So
To do the analysis?
to do the, yep, to update the impact fee plan and everything for that area. So
Okay.
to be included.
When
in-
was the last time we did a study?
So unfortunately, I'm still on the process of going through it. So I updated everything kind of south on 3300 West. And now this one's in. And so I've got to at some point call it quits and get going on this with it. And we just have to do the amendments in the future on it. But we did update the trails, and I believe that was like a year, maybe two ago.
Okay.
And then our storm drain, we're holding off on updating it as soon as we can get a study done on it or a master plan done on it to help out. And then this would take care of our sewer and finish off our transportation impact fees on this. So,
So they'll do transportation fees too?
yeah, transportation's already pretty much done on it.
Oh, good.
We just would take it through the same process where we've got, the public notice and all that, do them both at the same time and finish them off. So,
We've been trying to nudge everything along we can, with the information we got. We just need a little bit more,
Okay,
so.
so you're just looking for an okay to spend $5,500?
yep, yeah,
Is
and
that
we'll
right?
bring this before the commission as a commission item as well.
Commissioner Bolos, questions, comments,
No.
concerns? Commissioner Harley?
No.
Okay,
Okay, perfect, thank you.
looks like you have an easy sell.
Yeah, nice.
So in addition to that, as far as impact fees go, we do have a few other questions that we wanted to bring up.
Go ahead.
Stephanie came down and talked to us a few days ago. And this has to do with the Ogden Valley, because currently we have impact fees that are in place. But most of that area is now outside of our jurisdiction. So the questions are, number one, should we continue to collect impact fees? And that's a broader question because we do have some areas that are developing like Powder Mountain where we're collecting impact fees, but we don't have any areas that are within our impact fee facility plan that are currently in our jurisdiction. So we don't have anywhere to spend those impact fees that we're collecting currently. So it's an issue that we need to look at. We're also holding a balance of impact fees that need to be spent in the Ogden Valley. And we have the specific plans for those, but again, it's no longer our jurisdiction. And we don't want to hold on to those funds because at some point, the 6-year term will expire and we will have to refund those. So our thought is, we'd like to give those funds to the Ogden Valley and let them use those impact fees according to whatever plan they adopt and move forward with. So there's a conversation that's been started between, Stan's been talking to the Ogden Valley a little bit about this issue because the question came up as to whether or not we should continue to collect those impact fees as part of building permits. And we can let Cortland and Chris weigh in on that. And then the other question is, would you like us to start the process of figuring out how to transfer all of our existing Ogden Valley impact fees to the new city? So that's the issue that we're dealing with right now.
How much do we have in impact fees right now? Dollar amount?
So balance for Upper Valley impact fees is about 2.5 million.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be happy to have that so they can keep their city going.
We just took in the first 2 months of the year, we took in 72,500 more.
That's included in this.
I would imagine so, yeah.
So don't we have areas for the impact fees that they're designated to go back?
Yeah, they're
else?
designated projects that
Yeah.
the fees have to be spent on, and if we don't spend them within 6 years of when we collect them, then we are supposed to refund them back to the developer.
So would we be able to transfer that list too? Like, can we put
That
that,
obligation would
that-
go with it,
right?
yeah.
So I have a list of the impact fees collected by
Well, that's,
subdivision.
yeah. They'd love to have that.
They would just need to
yeah.
marry that up with I guess, if they want to adopt our plan, that we've had up there.
That's a
I
question we
have-
had today is, and we're gonna refer it over to their council, do they need to go through the impact fee, public hearing process, the studies, come up with their IFP? I would think they would have to, unless there's something in the statute that allows it to automatically go over where they can continue with ours, but not quite sure yet.
That would be great if it could,
Yeah.
just transfer with it.
Well, I don't see any reason that we'd continue to collect it. To me, that should be their decision.
Okay.
Um,
You're headed down the right path.
But yeah, I guess the other thing is we just need to make sure. Does that require some type of interlocal or we just transfer them or?
It's already done. isn't it?
I mean, I would think it would probably be safe to come up with like an interlocal or at least a memorandum of understanding of what we're doing, just to memorialize it, but just the fact that there's no jurisdiction over here, I can't see any legal reason why we would keep them. But I do agree, there probably should be some kind of paper trail.
Well, that's the thing I'm worried about. 2.5 million to that group up there now could easily be spent on a lot of other things than what we have an obligation to.
Yeah.
And then those people developments that paid those impact fees come back to us and,
Yeah, it's not just a free check to do whatever you want.
Well, that's-
And I don't know if we talk to their attorney or if we put some like language up from the statutes to send along saying you can only use this if it's connected to the impact facilities plan.
well, we just need to make that very clear. Because there's no question they will try to use those funds any way they can unless we say under our obligation, they have to be used here.
We could do some sort of agreement and include to it as an amendment.
Or their acknowledgement.
Like an acknowledgement.
Yeah, as included as an amendment to it, the original impact fee plan, because that's the basis upon which those fees were created, predicated on and collected by. And that would include the projects that would be eligible projects, candidate projects they could be spent on.
Commissioner Harvey, questions?
I like the acknowledgement portion of it, and I think the presentation went fine. I think that if they were surrendered from this organization to theirs, it would have to come with the rules and then an acknowledgement back before the funds actually transferred would be my.
How long is the developer list? I'm sure it's huge, because I can't even imagine, I mean, it would be nice to get
Well,
acknowledgement from the developer, but.
It's
It's significant.
4 pages.
Are we getting close to 6 years on any of those or?
We're in the clear right now. We've only got about $50,000 that we have to spend in 2026. Wasn't that the number?
Is that just the western?
No, that was the up.
Yeah.
Commissioner, to answer your question, we did a few projects last year, like the 4100 North
Yeah.
extension.
Yeah.
Storm drain extension for the firehouse in Eden, as well as the Eden Acres storm drain project we did. So we zeroed down a lot of those numbers of need to spend amounts of money. Plus it was important infrastructure to be built.
Both those are worthwhile projects.
We also used trail money too on 4100. I mean, we did a
For the
lot.
trail?
Yeah, we did
Good.
a lot for some of the projects up there with impact fee money.
I remember that we talked about that, using a lot of that money up specific to that.
Yep.
So,
There's a group up there that still think we should put up a little more infrastructure to protect those residents from any noise or et cetera. That was in the paper the other day, so.
Oh,
So we're
we're
still,
that close to their,
remember the group that we
Yeah.
met with up
Yeah.
there? Yeah,
well, I said do what we can, but
yeah.
that's,
anyway,
It's kind of a new city.
we've got a bigger berm and we did a lot of things for them.
We did,
And there were reasons we did what we did and didn't. I mean, so.
correct.
So is there some action we need to take to cease collecting the impact fees for any Upper Valley, whether it's unincorporated or?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because we're saying, right now, we're collecting impact fees up at Powder Mountain because it's unincorporated, but there's nowhere for us to spend those fees right now. Unless we redo our impact fee facility plan specific to Powder Mountain or Causey or these far-flung areas where we don't really have projects to do.
I mean, the way the interlocal reads right now, I see it as broad enough that it would include impact fees, because it's supposed to include any service associated with the processing of permits. So we'd either have to amend the interlocal or talk to them about what their expectations are, but how many are they gonna be processing? Because isn't the moratorium in place? Have they modified that?
They have, so if a development has a development agreement and it was already approved, basically it can move forward. So all of John Lewis's, Nordic Valley, some of those, If they had approvals and they have a development agreement, they move forward.
Do they even have the infrastructure in place to take any fee at the city?
No, we are collecting all of those fees for them right now.
So I guess the issue would be like, what, if we take on any impact fee and they're not legally authorized, are we assuming any liability on that part for illegally collecting a fee? We'd have to have some kind of assurance, if the commission even decides they want to do something like that, they will protect us or something like that. 'Cause I just don't know if they're legal yet.
So would it be better for us just to stop at this point?
Do you have any thoughts?
I would agree that that would be the best course.
Just stop collecting
I mean,
impact
it
fees?
seems like the safest for us if we're not, if we don't have jurisdiction over that. And I mean, I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at the interlocal agreement because I can't imagine that we specifically contemplated that when we were.
The problem that we're gonna run into, isn't that a requirement at the issuance of a permit though, that all fees be paid?
Yes,
It is.
and we'll still be collecting Weaver Fire District because that doesn't go to the city, that goes to the district.
Yeah,
So
so
stormwater, trails, roadways.
we're gonna have to come up with a decision sooner rather than later because they're gonna be expecting their permit. We're basically saying we'll issue a permit, or we're just saying it's gonna just stop until the city tells us to do something.
Yeah, until we amend the agreement to make it clear,
Yeah.
right? And put some kind of indemnification clause in there.
And again, if they don't even have a place for these impact fees to go to yet. County doesn't want to hold on to that.
If they don't, if they don't directly adopt our impact fee plan or analysis, would the same impact fees even be valid amounts to collect on permits at that point?
I think we're only,
They don't
I
have-
think if they change it, they'll tell us what to collect.
Okay.
Until then, we'll just,
Go off what we had.
we'll either collect what we already have in place or we won't collect anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stop collecting on any new ones. Is that,
If
That's the
that's the
question.
legal direction,
Say we put it on hold until we get the issue resolved and give you a further update of what the law says.
Right now, it's just a courtesy, if anything, just for customer services. One-stop shopping, they come in, they would process their permit, impact fees are part of that, we collect that like we do the rest of the fees. And then that would be dispersed to the city, but if we want out totally, then we just would stop that part of it, and then the applicant would have to pay that through a portal, with the city or whatever that might look like.
okay?
Do you think the interlocal agreement is specific enough to cover us?
That's when we started this conversation. I was wondering about
Yeah,
that.
it says that we provide all services related to the issuance of a permit, which if that's part of that underlying.
Maybe it is, maybe it is,
service-
maybe it is.
right now it is, for sure, unless we're told not to collect them or we shouldn't be collecting them because it's not
And we
our
have
jurisdiction
correct?
and they don't have a fee.
Do they have a fee ordinance in place to allow them to collect them? I mean, us on behalf of them. Cause if they're not allowed to collect them, then we shouldn't collect them for them.
Should we just stop collecting those fees?
Until it's resolved.
Until it's resolved, I mean, it's gonna put some pressure on them, but yes, I mean, we ought to do something either. Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm saying, so then do we issue the building permits? How does that work?
Unless they tell us to, I mean, I'd say no.
Cause that's collected at the time of building permit, right?
Yes.
Or they just tell us not to collect the impact fee and
Issue.
to issue the building permit. And then they'll just miss
That'd
out
be their
on
direction.
whatever happens during the time they're not collecting impact
I think
fees.
their legal team needs to
Yeah,
be talking to ours and looking at what we gotta do.
I agree.
So I think you need to have that discussion with the
With the
mayor
state,
and
okay.
let's have the council vote on that.
Okay.
And then we need to then bring up the subject of what do we do with that, the existing funds we have in place?
Yep.
And my concern goes back to kind of where Chris was headed, is I just want to make sure that we as the county don't have future liability if those funds aren't used as they were collected and intended.
Yes,
Because then we're hanging out there for potentially repaying those.
yeah.
And I don't want that to happen.
And then any permits for unincorporated Weaver County?
Should we stop collecting or should we continue to collect even though we can't spend?
If we don't have anything in our plan, I don't know how we could collect, because there's no infrastructure to tie it to.
Correct.
But we
So-
still have that in our fee ordinance, right?
But wasn't it, it would be tied to a specific project, wouldn't it? Because even though it's in our ordinance, we would still have to identify at least a project, right?
We would,
But the
in,
ordinance
in
doesn't,
the impact fee
ordinance
facility
doesn't.
plan, but the fee ordinance specifies how much we collect for impact fees, and we can only spend those based on the facilities plan that we have in place.
So it'd probably just be an internal administrative decision to suspend the collection of that fee until we have a new
Okay,
study done.
Okay.
and Go through the
So
process.
I think I could see us in the future spending some money up a powder on whatever projects come about.
yeah,
But, so I think that we should look at that, maybe sit down with Reed and his group and get their opinion as well.
okay,
But if we don't have the ability to spend it now, I think we cease collecting them in that area until we come up with a project and a plan.
okay. Everybody good? I'm okay, we're okay with whatever direction you give us.
Commissioner Harvey,
Well, I think, first off, we're not, according to the agreement, the interlocal agreement, we're not starting any new plans. It prohibits us from starting a new plan. Correct?
What about for the unincorporated,
we're talking
That's
about
good, yeah, okay,
unincorporated,
yeah,
like where you live?
specifically Powder Mountain.
that would be a place, but we're out, but yeah, Powder Mountain or Causeys.
Yeah.
right up there.
Or it could even flow over to Snow Basin at some point.
Uinta,
Yeah,
Well, I guess Uinta's in the lower,
yeah, it's in the lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get me.
sorry.
So
Cortland,
may I read just a little excerpt from the interlocal agreement? I think this is the final one that was signed. It does say under payment, the county may retain those fees as authorized to collect and retain under its fee schedule. However, the county shall remit to the city all fees collected on the city's behalf, including but not limited to impact fees.
Okay.
And so it talks about impact fees as a fee collected on the city's behalf. So I think we need an answer from the city as to whether or not they've actually adopted an impact fee. So I think stopping the collection of that until we know that they have an impact fee in place is probably the safest course.
they need to come up with a plan and then let us know what that plan is.
Yeah, do you see it? differently?
I agree, and if they don't go through the full process or don't show us that it's allowed to just to have them cross over, roll over, and adopt them through a simple resolution that's allowed, that we modify the interlocal to that they will assume all liability with the collection of impact.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it sounds like you better have a discussion with them. Commissioner Bowles,
No, nothing else.
you okay?
Yeah.
All right, does that answer your question, Sean? You got direction?
we've got direction. Just one more clarity on the unincorporated, are we stopping collection? If we
Yeah,
have a
so
permit
basically
Powder
Powder Mountain is what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
basically. We're
Yeah,
just-
I don't see any reason to collect it till we actually have a plan.
Okay,
We can't,
Unless-
we can't.
suspend that for now.
Yeah,
I don't-
We've got to get something going together because their construction window up there is so tight that they're gonna be coming in within a month.
Yeah. And these can't be improvements or they can't be maintenance. It has to be new projects that we're using these.
Well, they
for.
sold 33 lots last year and all of them, you never know, but all of them you would think are gonna go soon.
I
Yeah,
think so. So we can't use it on maintenance items.
correct.
We could use it on things like roads and sewer.
If we were building a new public road, we could do
And you
that.
have to, but it's gotta be
Grading
public,
it.
Yep.
which, so I think that's where we have to have the discussion with Reed and then, look, actually after we have this discussion with Cache Valley, Cache County, I should say, that maybe head us in that direction.
Okay. So the direction is to suspend for now. And we can figure out how to do that through the attorneys. And then.
I don't like the suspension of it. I'm just gonna say, I don't like the suspension of it.
I don't,
And the reason is, let me just finish. The reason is because it's, everybody up there is. They're paying standby fees, they're paying everything within good faith that they can proceed forward with their project. I hate that government stands in the way of that process. Is there another way?
I think it would clear the hurdle. One of the hurdles that they have to do, it just removes one fee that they have to pay. It's really incumbent on us if we want to apply those funds to the impact of existing infrastructure.
I just want to find a way to say yes.
Well, I don't see where not collecting the fee hurts them. It just reduces the payment to the county. So I don't see it's not gonna, I don't see it stops them.
As long as it doesn't stop the progress of
Oh,
the,
no.
just, okay.
No,
We're just collecting less
we are
money,
just not
because we don't know how to
collecting-
use
Yeah,
it.
we're just not collecting the impact fee.
You gotta have those qualified projects you can use those impact fees for.
Well, they had, another thing is though too, is they have enough with their trail network up there. They've got a
Well,
phenomenal trail network
yeah.
all through up there. That's very much recognized and proven.
Mhm.
And so that could be what that is.
It's gotta be public infrastructure that we spend these on.
And exactly my point. And through this whole thing is they want to get rid of, as they
No,
want to
I-
get rid of that Summit Pass Road. It has to be, it all turns back, this has to be turned back into public trails. And we talked about public access,
I,
maintaining public access. I think, I think we just continue to move forward and take those funds for that purpose.
Does our current improvement plan include trails up there?
It does.
$2,800.
Oh, not up at,
Impact fee facility specifically.
not at Powder Mountain.
I don't think that's legal.
If
Oh.
there's not something we
I
can
think you
tie
could
it
collect
to in the
it.
plan, I agree with you. I don't know how we could, but we could certainly start the process now modifying it.
Right.
And hopefully be done by
Okay.
the time any requests for.
Okay.
permits come in.
so I think the path forward is to sit down with Powder, explain what we're doing, that it's our intent to stop that right now. If they want to create some project areas and, project descriptions, well, I don't see that we're opposed to doing that. We just need to have a project. I need to have their buy-in.
Okay.
And they need to understand again very clearly, it's for public improvements. And, sometimes they have a little different take on what they want to do up there, which that's okay, but we just need to make sure we're.
Could a fire station or a public safety building be included in that?
Not with our impact fees.
Okay?
Which had the
We
same
were fire.
discussions with,
Mhm.
Good.
with Snow Basin,
Yeah.
or in the unincorporated
I
area
think
as
so.
well.
Right.
Could
You
be public.
would include all of it.
No, I,
Their trail system, et cetera.
Snow Basin, I don't know what we got around Causey. I mean, there's not
It's not
a lot of
like
development there right
water.
now.
And I think we can work with Zions and ask them that question for you and maybe get you a little bit
Yeah.
better answer, but I think most of the improvements that they would need to upgrade would be
If we add.
in necessity of their development.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is okay, as long as they remain public. And if they don't want to remain public, then that comes off the table.
Correct.
So,
You wanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question of whether a fire station or other facility could be included in that. Was it you who asked that?
That's right.
It is listed, but we don't have it in our ordinance right now. We're not collecting any money for that type of facility. But the statute would allow that if we wanted to adopt an impact fee for that.
If I may, Mr. Chair. In part of our interlocal, part of the discussion moving forward with Cache County will be currently the spot that Powder Mountain has picked as a space they're going to donate for a public safety, a fire station and a public safety building. The current property line between Weber and Cache County goes right through the middle of the building.
Huh.
So this might be a way to help. I'm just trying to think of all the different things associated around that. They are moving forward with that. They realize it's a need. I realize we're not in the fire but we are in the public safety portion of that. And so just some thoughts.
Wouldn't the fire district assess their own impact fees?
Yes.
They do, yeah.
They would.
So we currently
And
collect
maybe we
that.
make it into, we sit down and we put it in a bundle, cause I'm getting questions again about the road vacation. We're getting questions about tax sharing with different counties. We just put it all in one where it's just part of a bigger package. Cause they're gonna wanna, I assume we're gonna have to amend the development agreement to account for trails.
Yeah.
And we'll just address impact fees. sometime.
Okay,
Well, so what I'd like to do, and since you're kind of the contact up there, I'd like to get them on a work session. I think we'll have some information back based upon my meeting last Friday with Cache County. And which they need to at least understand. I think they'll be very happy with that decision. And then, but I want to make sure Reed and his group are understanding what at least the handshake agreement on Friday entails, which what it entails is us basically taking over. So we have two ways we can go. We can either move the county line and take that out, or we can come up with some type of interlocal agreement. What Cache would like to do is just turn kind of like we've done with Ogden Valley City, turn everything over to us. Permits, zoning, you name it, comes to Weber County. We have to give them a heads up as far as, okay, we approve this number, and then there'll be some type of cost sharing of our expenses / revenue that would go back to them, and that's yet to be determined. But basically, so anybody for Reed, for example, for his building permits, he'd come here, no different, whether it's in Cache or whether it's in Weber County, starts and it ends here. Cache is full, at some point in the future, if they ever get the road coming from the Cache side, that could go away. But for the foreseeable future, in my opinion, that's the best answer.
I like that idea. A developer, no matter where he is, doesn't care where the
No,
city or the county line is. They just care about being able to get their project done. And so it's up to us to figure out a way to say yes, to help them.
and I think that will make Reed happy because with the Weber State parcel up there, they want to sell. That's partially in Weber, partially in Cache.
See?
If Reed was to buy that,
Yeah,
we've solved the problem. What'd you say? You put the badge on the problem? Oh, that's. Well, we just put a badge.
Put a
on.
badge on the problem and the problem goes away. That had to deal with law enforcement.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what else?
That's it, as far as impact fees go.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
And just so I'm clear, we're not taking any action at all until we hear further.
From Ogden Valley.
Well, as
Well,
far as the values concerned.
we are not collecting those fees for the valley. At this point,
What's the impact?
just the impact,
Sorry.
fees, correct.
Or
wants to be
else
the one to call?
We're keeping anyway that we have, collect.
What's that?
Who wants to be the one to call them?
Stan's already been talking to Peggy Dooling Baker,
Oh,
so
you have?
Maybe have Cortland.
She called me on
Yeah,
Friday, and that's when we started getting.
will you get with Cortland and
I'm
give
sorry.
her a call back?
That 231
Have that
gauge, if we
conversation.
lose all of our funding.
I think that'd
he
be
wants
really
to
good.
Take away all the.
Probably want to include the mayor.
Yeah,
Restaurant.
okay.
Oh,
They're gonna refer right back to the
Crazy
interlocal.
strong.
Yeah.
Say, well,
Yeah.
You know him, he's your buddy.
He's not my buddy. I was telling somebody.
Oh, I didn't know this. I didn't,
No. I voted against every bill he ever ran.
really?
And he probably voted against every bill well, we didn't get along from day one.
Well, this is what he's doing. And then he's gonna give the right back. He wants to give the right in the substitute that was given this morning. He wants to give the right back to the counties to be able to impose it back if they so basically, they axe it down there, then they put all the heat back on it, which is a bunch of crap.
He wants us to take the heat for the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like something he'd do.
Good, how are you, John?
Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
Commissioners, how are
Hey,
you?
John.
John, how we doing?
Who'd you bring with you today?
This is Ryan. He's one of my partners on this deal here.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Okay,
He's full of excitement down there, isn't he?
He's the brains behind the whole thing, so.
all right, we're on 1:30. Just running a little bit late, apologize. Discussion regarding the 7500 West General Plan Amendment. Is Tammy here? There's Tammy. Can't go without Tammy. Adelot, Rick Grover, Charlie Ewert, Sean's here, Lee. Okay, Gary Myers is here,
You're welcome.
and John Price is here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we got all the players. Tammy, you're listed first, so do you want to start or turn it over to somebody else?
I'm gonna turn it over to Rick.
So
Rick, go ahead.
what we've done is we've looked at the areas out in the western area as far as developments that have been approved and we just kind of wanted to get your take on John's project where it's adjacent to the inland port and how that would relate with the general plan and just kind of get your take on that. Charlie was able to put together a little bit of information to kind of give you an idea of what has happened out there. So we'd like to show you that, and then we can have John, if you're okay with it, explain
Sure.
what he's wanting to do in that area.
What if we have John explain?
Okay.
I just need someone to stall for 5 minutes.
Oh, well.
Okay,
John,
where are we going, Charlie?
All this time to kind of hear what everybody has to
All
say,
right.
but, no, so just with everything that's transpired, we've changed our plan on this multiple times, as you guys know, just kind of as circumstances change, out there. And what's really driven this change is inland port, came down a lot farther than what the general plan, anticipated, as far as, there was supposed to be a 200-acre buffer between our property and, the inland port. And now with, Litchfield putting all theirs in inland port, it buds us right up against inland port. Also across the street on 75 is West Ridge. So just looking at those two things, we just thought, we think that it changes the circumstances according to the general plan, that mixed use works better for this spot than just straight 30 acre that was called in the general plan. And the general plan wanted a buffer zone between that, between up against the inland port. So we do think that we are still by doing this, that we are applying the spirit of what the general plan was wanting with that buffer zone. This is not anything like what you did with West Bridge. It's nowhere near the density. It's just an idea of what that would look like, mixed use with, so basically all phases of life can live in this community. You'll have first-time home buyers, you'll have people who want to upgrade, and whatnot in the community, with those with kids. And so it's just, this kind of encompasses, the community sense and in general. So that's what we're thinking. We do think that it matches really well with what the general plan was wanting in the first place. It's just things have happened that we didn't anticipate or didn't see fully when we wrote it up. So is that fair enough? Is that,
Yep,
I think I'm hitting
that's very fair.
my points, all right? Charlie, was that enough? Or do you need me to song and dance?
2 more. I got the link now. I'm getting on it.
So we have this drawing here that we showed you guys. This is just a conceptual idea. Again, this is not like, we're not saying this is exactly what we're doing, but this just gives you an idea of that conceptual plan of what that could look like in the future.
Okay,
You're welcome.
Where are you planning on picking up water and sewer?
So yeah, great question. So we're planning this along with the sewer, right? So West Warren water, that's what we use for water. The sewer, we won't do anything until sewer's coming. So right now, we're working on that in the grid right now. For that, we want to do this, coincide this with the sewer building, so we're not tearing up the road multiple times. We can actually put in laterals as we're putting in the main, do it all together, so it all makes, we're not just tearing up the road over. No, I'm the only one that lives out there. I'm the one that has to deal with all that. So I don't want to deal with that more than I absolutely have to. So we want to plan that, conditionally on that PID going through. So we're not asking for anything beforehand or anything like that. We will make this conditional on because we do have the access issue still. So we're looking at the PID that's going to cover the bridge over 83 and the sewer. So that would be, the sewer would be with the Little Mountain Sewer as we're building that out. We should have our drawings on that next week, by the way. For our plan, our sewer plan for our design.
okay. Charlie, have you got something to show there?
Do. So, taking a look at the screen,
It's refreshing.
just thinking about it. There we go. Okay, so this is what the future land use map shows for the area. Let me zoom in on the particular area we're talking about. The red boundary, that is the boundary for the port. You can tell we knew when we were looking at the boundaries for the port that it overlapped on our future land use map into some residential and commercial areas. I think at the time, we just had a general understanding that we wouldn't want properties that are residential to go into or to have new zoning applied until let me put it this way, we wouldn't want residential area inside of the port area, so. So before approving new zoning and whatnot, we were going to make sure that we had the accurate kind of zoning and land uses in those yellowish spots. So the yellow stands for the medium to large single family dwelling. The orange that you see kind of at the borders and a few other locations there, that is mixed residential, which mixed residential, we get a little frustration from our development partners because the general plan says propose something and we'll see whether or not we like it. That's kind of what it says, and the developers are saying, gosh, just tell me what you want so I can propose the right thing. But that's that orange area. The magenta that you see way out here, this is 8300 West. That is a vehicle-oriented or heavy commercial area. And then you can see the light purple and then the dark purple, lighter purple being moderate intensity manufacturing or industrial, and then the darker purple being the heavier intensity manufacturing and industrial uses. John's project is right, so here's 7500 West. John's project is right here, a little bit of overlap into the port area, actually
No,
underneath 1800.
We're just on the corner, yeah, on that, yeah, your mouse is around that
Right there,
corner.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's where John's project is. Essentially, it's right on that boundary. Does it go over the boundary at all?
Yeah, we
Okay.
share a border with them for about 40 acres.
Okay.
About 48 acres of our piece, of our 90 shares a border with inland port.
I think the overall intention, when the port boundaries were adopted, was to eventually come back and revisit this to make sure the land use map actually showed not residential, but industrial types of uses in those port areas. Just making sure we get the right kind of development there. This project here, you guys are probably familiar with, that's the West Bridge project. I'm going to turn this map off and let's turn the zoning. Let's see. It's not quite what I hoped for. Let's see. For little streets. I'm missing a layer. Sorry about that. So the zoning in Westbridge generally looks similar to what this map shows. We've got a variety of different zones. It's a master plan development area. If we're looking at where John's property is here, it's right here in this area here. You can see from what is here, the zoning of the front part of John's property on 7500 is in the A2 zone. That's the lighter green. A2 is medium intensity agricultural uses. And then the darker green is A3, which is heavier intensity agricultural uses. When we worked with Westbridge, we were a little concerned, well, really concerned, I would say, about protecting the landowners who currently own on 7500 because it's all residential or agriculture there. And so we encouraged Westbridge to kind of fade their development from heavier intensity here outwards towards 7500. As we look at a new potential general plan update and whatnot, we may want to reassess that. Especially if we're going for like mixed residential here, townhomes or whatnot. We may want to look at our general plan map. So coming back to the map. Loading. So if you right out in this area here, we may want to look at all of this and just kind of reassess how we want to address the general plan update. Right now, that this big circle, actually see where my mouse is. There you go. The big circle of yellow here. mouse is 5 seconds behind me, is supposed to be the medium to large lot, single family residential.
Third to halves, right?
Yep.
Third to halves or third to,
Next to 1800, is that what you're looking?
So 18, south of 1800, north of
Yeah, we
1800.
border 1800,
Yep.
Okay.
which is another reason that we like this idea of mixed use, because that's a main artery, basically future main artery, right, getting traffic in and out of that area. And we'll be butted up right up against it. And we consider that like smart planning to have that traffic up against that. There won't be a lot of cars adding a lot of traffic through all the streets throughout 1800 being that main artery. We think makes sense as well to have that density up against it.
So I think for a general plan amendment, the orange area that you see here, the mixed residential, that could be anything from single family to multifam. It really is kind of a name your own desire, and we'll see if the county commissioners think that's a good idea in that area. And so to facilitate this, we may just want to take that orange and just extend it over throughout where that yellow is. And that's just on the land use map. And then when we look at the rezone for John's property, we would look at the R115 zone, or we could do the R3 zone. R3A is for attached like townhomes. R3S is for stacked flats. We could look at a variety of those types of zones, just like we did. That's off, just like we did here. These are the R3 zones in Westbridge. So, something to think about. Does that look about right? Okay.
Yep.
Any questions for us on that?
That's already been approved, right?
Westbridge was approved, yep, in August.
Okay.
It's not recorded yet. They haven't asked for it to be recorded, but I think they're probably working out some land ownership.
further to the west on Westbridge, we did decide, based on these models you're just showing us, that the heavier density or the more concentrated density would be to the east. And the further we got to the west, they would be larger lots, correct?
Yep, and that was based on the current map. Yep.
Current map.
What are the two roads you got going through there, Charlie?
So we've got, are you talking about this road here?
Yeah, the reds.
So this
Highway.
is a future highway. Yep, that's that corridor that's right on the state property. We wanted to make sure it stayed open space for potential of a future highway that runs up to 8,300. This red here, that is where generally speaking, where the West Weaver corridor, where we would desire for it to go.
Okay. Okay. So that's, what you're telling me is that's Legacy North,
Yeah,
in our estimation.
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, that area to the west is to
Okay.
help improve the manufacturing
Okay.
area further west.
Makes sense? Okay, so what do you need?
We just wanted to bring this before you to kind of give you a heads up, and then we're gonna be working this through the planning commission and get things going that way.
Okay, Commissioner Bowles?
So the planning commission hasn't seen this yet?
No. No. And typically on these things, we don't bring this to you until we've taken it to the planning commission. But on this one, we felt like we probably should, just because we put the brakes on the general plan. And now we're, looking at some of those things. And so I just wanted to make sure you guys had a heads up on this.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, thank you. We put the brakes on the general plan as I remember it because of the extensive extra work that it was really being piled on us because of the Ogden Upper Valley.
Right.
And so we had to put things down. I would really like to study this. I think in my mind right now, I'd like to see the plan we had enacted. I don't want to, I like the idea of having larger lots out there, thirds or halves out along there. I think that was what we always intended from years ago, what that was. And it's tough for me because if I'm sitting in Mr. Price's shoes right now, I'm thinking, I'm going to try to get as much density out of this as we can. But it seems like every meeting I have now is another developer coming in and wanting to get packed development in their place that's at 450 million mile west, whatever it is, to the Great Salt Lake, as much as they can get. I think we need to go, I would like to take the brakes off the general plan if our team is able to handle that now, and let's move forward again so we can get a good discussion. So for me today, I like where we are with the general plan, and unless with a lot of study on that, if a developer wants to come in and say, I'd like something different than what shows on the general plan, I'm a no. I'm a no until we get the general plan done. If they want to wait however long it's going to take for us to revise the existing general plan, then I'd be happy to think about it, but I'd like to stick with our general plan for now and take the brakes off. We know we need to study it, but I'm not, in fairness to the developer coming into this, they need to know this is where where we are, where we're headed. I'm thinking all these other ones that these developments we've done in the last 2 years, gosh, if I'd have waited 2 years, I could have had this much more density, and I don't think it's fair looking back too, so I just want to be fair with what we said we were gonna do. That's what y'all have taught me here, sitting on this side of the table, and I'm committed to stay that course. Unless all the changes we've had out there with our economic development is such that it could do it. Now, you talked about water usage. We also talked about, before it was brought before this body, that they would have basically Weber Basin. They've got the water from Weber Basin, or they'd have water that all figured out on that. And would be one thing. We have is another. And so, but they're gonna have to see a general plan before that goes. In my mind, that's where I am. Thank you.
Commissioner, to speak to the water, LMSA is in the final stages of creating an agreement with Westmore and Warren Water. And they will be the water provider for the entire Utah Inland Port project area and anything going out in the, to the west.
Water provider or water taker?
Provider.
Well, and taker.
Thank you.
They gotta get it from somewhere.
It's gotta go somewhere. Once you get it, it's gotta go too, so.
Yes, so
And LMSA is on.
LMSA will be.
I understand that. I understand all that. But
Okay.
that's, yeah,
Well, those agreements are gonna be finalized in the next couple of months.
but they're not. And here and they're not yet. And here we are getting another developer in front of us that's wanting higher density when to me, it just seems like it's another one that's too early. But let's wait another month or 2 or 5 or 6 or whatever that is. Well, that costs us money to wait. Well, then go ahead and move forward with your development at a third or a half an acre, the way it's designed right now. As far as I feel pressure because we're not moving fast enough because they want something different. If you want what it is on the map right now, move forward. But if you want to change, then you're gonna have to wait whatever timeline it takes for this group to do it. That's how I feel.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're sure?
I think so.
Okay.
No, I'm sure.
All right, so I just want to make a couple of points. First thing, I've already asked, and we've made some commitments to a couple of developers that we relook at our we know we have some conflicts out there with the inland port. We know that the inland port, so we know we already have a number of applications in the pipeline for development. And what I've asked Rick and his crew to do, and we'll be asking the planning commission to do at our next meeting next Monday, I believe it is, whenever we meet with them in a joint session.
Next week.
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, sorry.
It is Tuesday.
No, it's tomorrow.
Oh, it's
isn't it?
tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. All right, I lose track of weeks here. I don't think we're at the point, and I've said this before, we need a total revamp of our Western Weaver general plan. But we have a lot more information now than we did 4 years ago. We know that Westbridge didn't exist. We know that a lot of these developments that now have preliminary approval didn't exist. So I would like to take a look at what we actually have approved, what's in the pipeline, and then see what I'd like to go back to planning commission and get their input. Since they're the ones that, now the other piece of the puzzle here that I've got a meeting on, I think this is right. I think it's next week from Wednesday with UDOT Higher Management, Carlos Braceras and his group to find out what the true picture is on North Legacy, Highway 177, whatever you want to call it. I've had conflicting information from a couple of sources that Region One is basically saying, we're gonna take it where we want it. We're gonna put it where we want it, which is
His underlings is what you're saying.
his underlings. And so I'm gonna have that discussion, and I made it pretty clear to Carlos when I saw him at the Capitol. We just need to know one thing, the county. Have you already made your mind up where it's going? If so, great. But you could probably use our information and you could help us plan together to save the state a lot of money.
Like they did in Davis County.
Yeah. So, and I think Stephanie was at the one meeting where UDOT made it clear that the direction had been set. So I'm hoping a week from this Wednesday, we'll either be part of that decision or we won't. But I want to be crystal clear, and I'd like this information by next Wednesday, that here's what we've got already, Black Pine, et cetera. Here's what we've already got approved. And oh, by the way, we've got a 300-foot corridor that's gonna be free to the state going if we go west through Westbridge.
Commissioner, do you want, I can get that to you. Do you want that on a map or do you want just a list?
I'd like it on a map.
Okay.
Yeah, so
This
again,
helps me. This helps me, Charlie. I'm glad you brought this to this discussion. Thank you.
but bottom line, we've offered our help to the state. They can either take it or I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. Carlos claims that he doesn't operate that way, but we'll find out. I just want a clean answer that if they've already made their mind up, then, and we've already made our commitment to a lot of these developers, which I feel bad about because it's that could wipe out a couple of those major developments.
And I just want to bring up too, what brought this on wasn't because we wanted more density. That wasn't, hey, we should get as much density. It was inland port changed the market of
Yeah.
that area, right? So it's an inland port come down all the way to the red instead of where they were projected to be. That changed our market for that ground. So now a third acre or half acre definitely doesn't, it's just not a good market. That's not where people who are looking for a half an acre are looking for half an acre in the middle of all this development in between industrial and major, 10-to-1 development. That's not where those people are looking for space. So the market itself has changed due to these circumstances.
With all due respect, John, I'd push back on that a little bit because Mountain View subdivision out by the fairgrounds and BDO Ogden has done very well. They sold out so quickly. Phases 1, 2, 3, and 4 out there.
Yeah,
And
close
they're
to
all
yeah.
big. Those are all big lots out there. So I push back a little bit on that.
I would say that there's a big difference in the market between there and West Warren. There's a big difference in market there.
Well, so then we'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
One thing to think about is inside of the red polygon, inside of the port area, that tax increment that is being brought in for the port, if you're doing low density residential or just residential of any nature, that's really gonna impact the revenue that's generated. And we'd be, as far as operations and maintenance of those street facilities go, we're gonna be a little bit beholden to what the port chooses to prioritize. Are they gonna prioritize operation and maintenance of street infrastructure where they're actually pulling in better money, or in residential areas? So when we're looking at inside of those red polygons, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to go residential. Just keep it ag until we're ready to go to more manufacturing or industrial type of use. Is what I would say.
So I think it's fair to say, really, 4 years ago, when we put this plan together, we didn't know about the port.
Right.
And now the port, and so I think, again, you've got two big pieces of the puzzle here. You've got the port that's gonna really control their destiny, but because they control their destiny, they're gonna control ours by what we have bordering. I mean, that's just a fact of life. You don't put half acre lots next to a heavy manufacturing. It just doesn't work. You've got to space that out. Now, the other side obviously is the corridor where we put that. So I think it's worthy of a discussion with the planning commission. And then the other factor that's entered into this is that Weber Basin in the next 7 to 8 years is putting 550 million into another water treatment. So you're gonna have water availability, not immediately, but probably early, 2030s, 2032, have additional water out there, water capacity that we don't have now. So which will obviously springboard the port. And then you tie in the sewer that we hadn't had before.
Yeah.
So things are gonna change, like it or not, things are gonna change out west.
I don't know if the infrastructure bill has made any progress, but there is a bill at the legislature now that is trying to figure out. All these different communities are reporting that they've got a ton of inventory in terms of development rights. But not the infrastructure to help realize that.
Yeah.
So the state, if this bill goes through, they're thinking about putting a pot together to help infrastructure get installed as well. So that could be something that the port or that we might want to tap into as well.
Yeah. No, I think, and that really keys on this is the infrastructure that we either have now or will have in the foreseeable future. That, when I was meeting with the cash guys on Friday, they say we've got all sorts of water, but we don't have any infrastructure. And the cities don't want to take our density or our water because they don't want the growth. So they're basically, they're kind of the opposite side of the spectrum that we're on. They can't do anything. And they'd like to, but, so I think I think if we're smart about this, we're gonna come out on top of this and really do a great service to Western Weber County, the people that want affordable housing, the manufacturing, economic development. I think we have a great opportunity here. I just don't want to screw it up.
One more thing too, is I read something over the weekend about something to do with road tax in Idaho,
Haven't heard about that.
that they're up in arms because there's something happening with our road tax. Does any of you know what I'm talking
The
about?
fuel tax that you're talking about, their
Could be.
legislation came down and,
Fuel tax?
Yeah,
Is that?
Oh, the fuel tax?
yeah, we were gonna charge them fuel tax to send our fuel from our refineries to Idaho.
Yeah.
I think they end up working out a deal.
Oh, yeah, because, okay, that's good to know, because what the response to that was, wasn't it you that said that you were back in DC and said, no, I was in somewhere else? It was in another meeting in one of the million down in Salt Lake at the legislature. They said, well, if you don't work out the fuel tax, we'll hit you where it hurts. And the guy said, potatoes? And he says, nope, water. And water, everything you're talking about, cash flows north through Idaho before it comes back in the bareback down to here. I didn't understand that till I looked at the maps and I thought, whoa. So there could be, when you're talking about water, there could also be some other interstate stuff that goes on. So
Okay,
nice if we all work together.
what else?
No, I got nothing.
What else?
So our next step, we'll get with the planning commission, go over them with that, and then come together and make a plan going forward.
Yeah,
We're not trying to, we want to just do this coinciding with the PID, right? We understand that the PID needs to happen for this to be able to go through. So we're not, like I said, we're not trying to rush or anything like that. We do want to get a zone changes so we know what we have and we can make plans for it. But other than that, we're not gonna do anything until that PID allows us.
No,
to.
I think we've got an opportunity here. We got a great planning commission that's willing to dive into this. I've already kind of alluded to them. We're gonna give them a little extra work. We've got a great staff. We'll just look at those recommendations and come back and see what we're at.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you, commissioners.
thanks, folks.
I just got an annexation class, so we are gonna be.
Declaration there.
Thanks, John.
I turned on all the information at one time without. filters.
It's just.
Commissioner Flores, that's the guy who's gonna get those beaver for you.
I heard you like big cats.
Yeah, I like big cat.
Do you put on buckskins when you do that or?
No, I prefer to keep a little bit more distance.
They were wondering what place they could take me to with the smelly bits.
Oh, the secret trap store?
Oh, sorry, secret.
Yeah.
We might be able to get you a beaver up there if you want.
I need a beaver.
And I've got
You do?
coyotes
Today.
today, ready to go.
What about fox?
Foxes are good too. Yep.
I got those too.
I got a lot of fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My neighbor that was shooting them all died a few years ago.
Let's stay in touch.
All right.
Guy?
Danny Bolton. You know Danny.
That's
Baseball player.
permanent.
Hmm?
When you die.
Yes, man, usually you don't survive that. Last time I checked. I don't know about that. Okay, here we are. Welcome. We're at our 2 p.m. Sorry, we're just a little late. Regarding state ARPA appropriations for West Weber Sewer, Stephanie Linnell, Stephanie Ebert, Laura Thomas, Chris Crockett, Sean Wilkinson. I think we got everybody.
Yep, and we've got a couple online people joining us. We've got Black Pine Online as well as the Utah Inland Port Authority. And we've got Jonathan Ward, our finance advisor.
We got all sorts of people. Welcome.
So we've been trying to hammer out how to do our reimbursement for the state appropriation ARPA funds that were received in 2022. As we really are kind of in a time crunch on this, but we want to make sure that we're doing this correctly and that we're having all of our bases covered and that our staff feels comfortable processing these reimbursements per the National Treasury guidelines, as well as the state guidelines, as well as the county ARPA guidelines. So we're dealing with 3 different sets of guidelines on this reimbursement. So we've been meeting, we've had several meetings with finance and with Lauren and myself. And then we had a really great meeting with Jonathan Ward and his team last week, just to make sure that we're going in the right direction. We wanted to present the direction that we'd like to go into you today so that we can have an understanding of if this is how you would like us to proceed, or if you have some recommendations. So Lauren, do you want to talk really quickly about the contract and what the options are for the contract and why we're going to go in a specific direction?
Yes, so there are 2 provisions that talk about reimbursement in this agreement. The first one.
And let them know what the agreement is.
Yes, so this is a sub-recipient agreement between Promontory PID and the county for that $5 million from DWQ. So under the agreement, the first clause, and this is one that is typically used, is reimbursement based on receiving invoices and proof of payment, and then we would reimburse after we see that. The other clause allows an advancement of cash at the county's discretion. And my understanding is that's not been used very often. So those are the 2 ways to reimburse Promontory for this project.
And the committee has elected to go with, to recommend to the commission to use option number 1, where we do reimbursement with proof of payment from Promontory Commerce Center and the invoices. And we've actually added another step into that process to make sure that our main concerns were from our finance department and from our treasurer. Our main concern was making sure that the invoices that we were reimbursing were going to be in compliance with the state standards. This is a very unique funding stream, and it's got some standards attached to it in our contract with DWQ. And those standards need to be met. We need to make sure that before we reimburse, that all those standards are met. So I'm going to go very quickly through this process for you to look at and to ask any questions.
Thank you. Get ready for your question.
And here's one for whoever else wants one. So the first step would be that the PAD pays the contractor. Once the PAD pays the contractor, they forward those invoices onto the Economic Development Department, but they also show proof of cleared payment. So that would be the 2 things that they would forward on to my department. Then my department would review those invoices for ARPA eligibility and consistency with the approved project scope. And that's the approved project scope that was with DWQ. And I would confirm that with DWQ prior to putting a submission on behalf of the PID to Weber County's finance department. That's step 3. That would include a reimbursement form, very similar to what I'm doing right now with LMSA and with Brooke for the the county ARPA funding. And so that would go through the same process that we've been doing, with the extra step of validating the invoices with the state DWQ prior to submitting them to Weber County for reimbursement. Once those are submitted, then the county will have the opportunity to review the documentation and confirm the budget. And then they would do electronic funds transfer to Promontory Commerce Center PID. Then the county on step 5 would take that submission and submit that with the invoices and proof of payment to the state for reimbursement. So we added this extra step in to make sure that what's being submitted to the county is actually going to be paid by the state. Does that make sense?
Where's the 5 million sitting now? It's on our
It's
county.
at
In the
the
state.
state.
So we have,
Never got it.
okay,
Yeah,
so
we
it's still
don't,
sitting at the state.
yeah,
All right.
and we're only gonna get reimbursed by the state with the invoices that they consider appropriate. So that's why we added step 2 in to make sure that anything that we're reimbursing, the state has already said, yeah, you can go ahead and reimburse for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
our
it may be
biggest-
helpful for James and Jacqueline they'll be processing all of the invoices on behalf of the PID and running the process. I think it might be helpful for them to explain what they do and how they do it, because a lot of those steps are just part of the base normal process, I guess.
So I sent this to them, Daniel, today.
Okay.
So they got a copy of this, so we can have that conversation another time.
Okay.
This conversation is specifically for the commission to have an understanding of how the county will be handling this part of the process. But we can
Okay.
definitely circle back with your finance team and make sure that we're all on the same page after the commission makes a decision how they'd like to proceed.
So I think our biggest concern has been that we are now, time is of the essence. The
Yeah.
state wants reimbursement requests submitted before May 30th.
For
And
May
the wide-
30th.
Yeah, by May 30th.
80% of the reimbursement has to occur before May 30th, or we don't have access to the funding after that.
Is that in the contract?
Yes.
No, I don't think it's in the contract, but now they've come back and told you May 30th.
Yeah.
So they've made some adjustments
But there is
to
a
that.
deadline in the contract.
So the state's kind of pushed this a little quicker.
And they have the ability to pull the funds. So my concern was we need to make sure as a county, we're not paying funds out without the ability to get reimbursed for it.
Exactly. We can't
And-
pay, we can't
No.
provide money we don't have.
Right, and so in the contract, and we've been through it, it's, the state says that they want to be sure that this project will be completed in a timely manner. So now we've taken out of our ability the performance basically and given it to Black Pine. We're relying on them to perform to these contract things. So that's probably my biggest concern, Daniel, and why I'm really hoping, we all want this to go through. We just want to make sure we are risk adverse. We do not want to take any liability on the county side. What can we do to guarantee that this project will be done and will be reimbursed? Otherwise, we don't want to pay. We'd rather walk away from this 5 million if it can't be reimbursed to the county. So how far is this project? Can it be done by May 30th?
I'm happy to provide a little construction update there. We've already received payment applications for about $2 million. And we've been withholding sending those along to the county because we still were looking for some clarity on what this process would look like. And maybe a question to go along with that. In past conversations up to this point, I think the advance payment has been what the assumption that our team was under that we would be operating with. Just we have the launch DFA team that processes all of the applications and meets all of the state guidelines and requirements. And so apologies if that was a misunderstanding from our team, but I think from a speed standpoint, it may be faster for James and for their team to be able to just process all of the invoices, the payment applications, the whole packet that Pam sent to you this morning, Stephanie, and have those reimbursed directly as long as they meet the state requirements. So curious what maybe what's changed in the thought process there, or what we misunderstood in previous conversations.
Lauren, maybe you can correct me. I don't think anything's changed as far as the agreement is written. The reimbursement was a secondary option that was at the discretion of the commission to exercise if they wanted to.
Right.
It was always under a reimbursement process, and I think that's pretty laid out in the agreement. The problem that I have with this is that if we don't even have the money from the state, we are ultimately the ones liable if anything goes wrong with this. And so I would definitely say, unless something grand changes, that we stick with the original process, the reimbursement process. We just make sure the invoices are what we would consider appropriate and what the state considers appropriate. We can work together on that, get those flowing and get those funds to be drawn down. Maybe the feds wouldn't audit, but I'm pretty sure the state will audit us, given us our interactions with DWQ. So I'm very hesitant to do an advancement type.
Yeah, I don't think that's, so let me ask you a question, Sean. So when we did the ARPA funding with Mr. John Bond was here, we did partial payments. They submitted invoices.
Correct.
I'm thinking of a lot of projects we did. So we didn't require them to complete the project. We saw an invoice
Yes,
and it was justified, at least in our mind, that it met the intent of the disbursement that we agreed to under the contract.
Correct.
Am I-
no, that's
It
correct.
was reimbursement.
Yeah, so there's
Yes, it is
reimbursement.
reimbursement.
So is there anything in, so let's be clear, the state's holding the 5 million, not us. So unless the state agrees to disperse it, we're not gonna disperse it because we don't have money. We're not using our money.
Which we contacted the state in the last couple of weeks and they are not willing to do that.
It's not willing to do what?
They're gonna disperse directly to, the county.
Yeah, okay, well, that's what I'm
They want
saying.
us to show proof of payment.
No,
With
I,
proof of payment.
that's what I'm saying, but at that point in time, we have money in the bank. We've submitted invoice, the state makes their allocation to us. Now we have money, we can pay the PID. That's,
Although I think the state, they said that they wanted the PID to pay the invoices, us to pay the PID, state pay us. Because our contract is with the state, with our
Right.
county and the state.
And
We'll get
that-
a confirmation from the state in the middle of all that before we
added
forward
that
the
step.
funds to
yeah,
the PID. We'll get a confirmation
Yeah.
from the state that they're good with it.
yeah, I just want, I'm not saying we have to have the money in the bank, but I want solid
Confirmation.
confirmation that they've approved the invoice for the full amount and we'll have funds coming. Once we have that from the state, it may take a week or two or whatever it is. I'm comfortable at that point in time forward, and we know that money's coming. So, but to advance it until we have that confirmation, we can't do.
Which is why we added step 2 into this process.
Well, I think we also need to add into that with, if we're gonna do partial reimbursements, to make sure that we satisfy the completion requirement that's gonna be upon us. I can't remember exactly what it was, but just make sure that we're gonna hit that no matter what.
Yeah, so Linnell, reading that state contract, it's been a long.
Right on it, it just says that let's see, the payment consistent with requirements of the law, the actual payments of funds by the board to the grantee will not take place until the board has assurance the funds will be used for project costs and the project will actually be completed. So. Yeah.
Well, so the May 30th date becomes problematic at this point. We may have to have some discussions with some state people.
The other thing that was a bit of a concern in this contract is that it identifies matching funds. It identifies the project cost at 9.22 million and that the matching funds would be 4.2. So we're looking at the inland port loan as matching funds, and apparently the inland port has already funded Black Pine the 5 million loan in December, we heard. So I guess my
that's how I
question
understand
too for you guys is, so if you guys got that loan in December, why haven't these invoices been paid with that money?
We've been paying the contractor. So the reimbursement thing is less of an issue. It's more of a speed thing. We're just concerned that if we pay the contractor and then submit to the county and it sits for a couple, 2-3 weeks before it goes to the state, that we'll run out of time if that May date can't change. But if we're all aligned to, process reimbursement applications quickly, I don't think we're gonna have an issue. I think it's more of a, we're under the gun at this point collectively, and everyone just needs to operate quickly. But we've been paying BHI with that 5 million so far already. So I'm not concerned about that.
So if you can get us copies of that, the canceled checks, that you have paid it, that's what we can submit to the
Right.
state. This state
Yeah.
money should be the first 5 million spent. And we'll reimburse you for those that you've already paid with that loan. And then
Yeah.
this we can submit to the state to get reimbursed. Because there's
Yeah,
not
I
a
think-
time on that loan.
It's like Dallin was saying, we've already got 2 million invoice. We just got to pay up yesterday. So that one hasn't been paid yet, but we've already paid the first 2 pay apps and we'll just continue to process. But we just need if we're going to do a multi-step process, I think everyone just got to be operating efficiently. And that's the ask, is just that you guys would be turning stuff quickly to the state so that hopefully they turn it quickly back to us.
Yeah, I would think if you've already paid that, I'm surprised the ARPA funds weren't the ones first money in, first money out. So if you've paid that amount of money, I would say get us invoices that coincide with the contract. We'll submit that, see what we can do.
And if we get confirmation
Right.
from the state, we can.
Yeah.
We can process those that week.
Right.
I mean, it's not a couple week process, we can have the
Yeah.
funds out that week.
Yeah, that's great.
Daniel, I guess if you can get us those invoices, that kind of takes the May 30th date not as relevant. If we can
Yeah.
show that we've got 5 million going into this project already with the state, we get confirmation.
And the state's fine with that. And
We're done.
I spoke with the state last week about that, and they're fine. They just want to see the invoices.
Yeah.
And they want to see that the invoices were paid. That's all we need to. At this point, he said 80%, we've got to have 80% reimbursed. The project does not have to be completed by May 30th. The 5 million needs to be spent by May 30th.
And they've done that.
80% of the 5 million needs to be spent and reimbursed by May 30th.
Yeah,
Which shouldn't be a problem.
we won't have a problem with that. No.
So Daniel, is there a problem with that?
No, we'll be able to spend that much money by that time frame, and we're happy to pay it first and then get reimbursed as long as the process between the county and the state goes quickly. We'll just run out of we're relying on that 4 million, so we'll run out of funds at some point if we're not getting reimbursed. So that's the concern on our side, is that we just got to make sure the wheel keeps moving. So.
Okay.
If I could ask a question real quick, based on this step-by-step on getting reimbursement, it says that the PID is going to make payment. The PID doesn't have any money to make the payment. As Daniel's talking about, they've been paying and contracting out. I'm imagining from what you guys are saying right now that is fine, that the developer can continue to contract, request reimbursement through the PID, who will then request the county, who will then request the state. Is that to everyone's understanding?
The subcontract agreement is with the PID, so we can't,
So we pay the PID.
we pay the PID.
Yeah.
Yes, but the PID doesn't have any money to pay.
They have the
anything.
5 million from the inland port.
Yeah, James, what you're describing of running it through the PID is what we're already doing, and we'll
Okay.
continue to operate that way.
Yeah, the county will pay the PID. We're good that way.
Okay, perfect. And then the second thing, I just wanted to clarify that we can just continually request. There's no, because in the contract I see that it's like quarterly requests for reimbursement, but since there's a timing restriction, we can just continue to.
Yeah, so send the invoices directly to Stephanie Russell.
Okay.
And the proof of payment. I need both.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. Daniel, does that make sense?
Yeah, we're good. We appreciate you guys' help. I know it's a
Yeah,
lot of
to me,
extra
this
hoops
is-
to jump through.
If you spent that money, we should have this done well before the deadline.
Yeah, well before.
So.
Yeah.
Jonathan Moore, do you have any questions on this?
I do not. Sounds like you've got it all resolved and working together. That's great.
Oh, yeah, that's what we like to do here. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Danelle, we okay with that then?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just be clear. So you'll get invoices to Stephanie. We will submit those to the state. Once we have confirmation, then we will give you some money to the PID.
Yep.
So there's no miscommunication there, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Bold?
Boy, we're all singing out of the same hymn book there,
Well,
Maestro.
Pete,
I love it.
And I'll pass the process on to everybody so there's no confusion.
yeah, I think we're clear.
Great.
Okay, Sean, anything else?
No.
Okay, Lauren, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank
Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep moving forward.
Okay, let's go to our next agenda item, which is the discussion regarding the 2025 budget carryover request and new budget change request.
That's me.
Very exciting stuff right now. Stay with it.
Okay, I will. If you'd like, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Well, that looks like a lot.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Wow.
Wow,
Wow.
Stephanie,
Okay,
hold on, not the stretch there, yeah.
What are we looking at first here?
go ahead and look at the one with the pink stripe down there.
All right, I see it.
So, this front and back page are all of our existing purchase orders that were issued in 2025 that we did not either receive all of the, items or services, or we received some, not either partial or not at all. And so those will just automatically roll over in our system, but I wanted to make you aware that those will show up on our budget amendment that I'll present in our quarterly meeting. So those,
So this total amount here will roll over to 2026.
correct,
Automatic.
automatically.
Do we know what that total is?
Unless we go in and cancel a purchase order. But
Yeah,
these
is there
are-
any that we want to?
That's my
There were,
question.
you emailed me to in engineering. I think we can get rid of those.
Okay,
So go ahead and don't roll those over. Those projects are complete.
I think I took those off
Okay, good.
already.
Yeah, have you gone, so are all these projects yet to be, and will they
So
be
these-
completed or?
Yeah, these were already ordered. There's purchase orders and I'm just trying to familiarize myself with how our software system works. These will just automatically carry over into the next budget year. Because the funds were encumbered, the purchase orders were issued, but we just didn't receive the items in 2025.
Okay,
So
Got it.
they should be rolled,
These
all
should
these
be-
should be rolled.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
okay.
Now, the next
What's the-
page,
sorry.
So there's no
What's the back
surplus
page?
money here.
no, no.
What's the back page without the stripe on it?
So these were, the ones on the back were 2025 purchase orders that were received within the first month of 2026. So these have already been received now, but the funds will be spent in 2026 budget.
Okay. Okay, got it.
All right, so then the next page, which is only the half sheet. These are requests that have been made by departments where the funding was approved for 2025. But the items had not yet been started or ordered.
The old, I wanna roll the money into the next year because I couldn't get it done.
Shouldn't
Boy.
come through on the budget request?
So
2026?
they were approved in 2025. They didn't include, the departments did not include them in the 2026 request because they thought that they would be able to purchase or complete the items in 2025, but they did not. So the difference between the first page that we looked at and the second page, the first page already had purchase orders assigned.
These did,
These did not.
okay?
So I'm just asking in behalf of the departments that have requested these funds to roll those over into 2026 as well.
Okay, I'm with you.
But those are not an automatic rollover, because they don't have a purchase order
Mhm.
tied to them.
So here's our opportunity for a little extra money if we want to be mean.
Well, I don't understand why it wasn't requested in the 2026 budget.
Because it was already approved in 2025
Right.
and they anticipated they would spend those by the end of the year and they just did not.
Okay.
They didn't even try to, though.
No,
Right, these are
that's
the
not
ones-
true.
These are the ones that they tried to, the ones in the red.
Yeah,
These are the ones that they just put off and didn't get to. Which is fine.
Cause they probably would have been approved in the 2026 budget.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it asked for?
I
Is my
had a
question.
couple of them, so like, for example, about halfway down, the trolleys for the shooting complex. They had an amount of $36,000 that was approved in 2025. They did ask for additional trolleys in 2026 and were granted those funds in 2026. But now they're saying we need the funds that were in 2025 and 2026 in order to complete the whole project.
Yep, I get what you're saying.
And
My
keep in
my
mind that
question is
that-
why they didn't ask for that. That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah, so during the budget session, wouldn't they typically say, here's the projects that were approved, we wanna roll them over then?
Yeah, we want to roll it over and then we want additional or whatever.
Yes,
So, which-
typically, yes,
I mean,
unless,
to me, that's-
again, unless they anticipated that they would have been spending them. And I don't know, there's the top three, engineering, we talked about those last week.
Okay,
Some of them, I think the sidewalk improvements, we had about 250,000 or 150,000 that was approved in 2025. They did most of the, improvements.
Yeah.
But then there was like the signal lighting or something that they didn't get to. And so that's why they're asking to roll over the remaining funds. Even though they haven't been encumbered yet, the project was still, I guess, ongoing. They just didn't complete all of it.
But okay, then let me ask a follow. Can I ask a
Yeah,
follow-up question?
sure.
So none of these are in our 2026 budget.
Correct.
That's my question.
but the money is in the bank.
The money was in 2025 unspent. It would roll into our fund balance if we don't roll it into 2026.
Okay, all right. So it's not like we're taking new money,
Right,
we're taking old money
correct,
and making it new money in 2026.
correct.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it all makes sense to me. I just don't know why it wasn't asked for.
Well, I would think at least we should maybe during budget session say, look, if you have any unspent, then let's make sure it's put in the budget officially when we approve their budget for 2027.
I think that's probably a really good clarification to make with all the departments. during
Yeah,
budget
because they just
days.
Other
assume
departments who did ask for these rollovers?
are,
No, let me,
Um,
I know, I got it. Let me tell you, having been in those shoes on the other side of the table. There's often extenuating circumstances why they didn't. This list tells you part of the story, but it doesn't tell you the story about all the other things that are completed and not on the list. We granted the money and they were spent and taken care of, and they didn't make this list because they're all done. No matter what department they're in. This is just, for instance, I'll go back to the trolleys because that's what you brought up, the gun range one. Keep in mind that they went to the SHOT Show, found a guy that hadn't been out this far west before. The original trolley bid was $280,000. With this trolley at 36 and another one at 36 at 72,000, or 25% of what they were gonna do this in phases. Do so many trolleys, then so many more the next year, so many more the next year. And now they're able to just do them all with this. And so there's a reason, and the same thing would be true with the water lines. As they repaired all the concrete out there at the Golden Spike, that's what I thought. All those things have a valid explanation. As I used to come in and request to move these over to the next budget, it was like, hey, I've got this most of the way there. I just haven't secured it with the PO. So it's just kind of a thing. But what I wouldn't do now, coming back to this side of the table, is if they haven't done it within 2 years, then for sure I never would do that again.
I appreciate that, Commissioner, and I do think this list probably is more of a mix. For example, base camp, that's the balance of what they had, and the only difference between this list and the first list we looked at is that they haven't actually encumbered the funds on a purchase order. They worked on the project, it didn't get all the way completed. They really haven't encumbered the funds to a specific vendor, but the project was underway and just not completed.
And I think we've all been up there to North Fork Park and seen the base camp. The building's in. It's all done. There's just a little bit of this and that and the other that needs to be finished. but the structure's up, there's a roof over it, that it was dried in, now they're just doing the finish work on the inside with the rest of that.
Got it,
So that's why it is the way it is.
got it. Commissioner Bowles,
That's what I would have wanted to hear at the budget time.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that can, I didn't, sure. I'm not saying I wouldn't support this, but maybe there's an education that needs to happen where a director comes in and says, just what you said. We've done all this, we need to roll this over instead of in March saying,
And I'll
oh,
take-
by the way.
I'll take that responsibility on my shoulders for not, this is all explained to me in my monthly or bi-weekly meetings, in fact, almost weekly meetings with those guys, I just don't share it with you, and so that's my fault.
well, so are you okay with this?
I mean, I really am, but I feel like we need to fix it
And
moving
maybe-
forward. It should be brought up during the budget.
Yeah, and maybe it's, how are you coming, maybe a status check, because maybe some of them think that they will complete the project by the end of the year. And then they just don't, and so when we have the budget hearings in October, they're still anticipating they'll finish the project. Maybe that's the case on some, maybe not all, and so maybe a status check would be a great addition to those budget hearings.
Well, I think that's the key. I think that's what we're all saying, is that if these are not complete in 2026.
Right.
Then we need to be clear, if you have any unfinished projects that were funded previous year, they better be in this year's budget request or they go away.
So that they'll be on this list,
So they'll be there.
right?
Right.
That's all we're saying, right?
Got it.
And
Yes.
so that they, yeah, I mean, I can understand why it didn't happen. But if they're looking at their budget and this actually are projects are gonna do, then they'll issue a PO.
And just by way of information, I did have another department reach out to me and said we had some additional funds left in our budget. Can we use them for these projects? And I said, I don't see these projects were even approved or a request in the previous budget. And we don't typically roll over funds if they haven't even been approved. That's a separate ask.
Yeah,
And she confirmed that, and so that ask is not on here.
that's a separate ask, yeah.
So these were only projects that had already been addressed in the previous
Sure.
budget, so,
Okay, I think we're there.
okay.
We there, Harv?
I'm just,
I'm-
I'm
I'm all-
defining those two
I got it.
scenarios the
I
same.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this will be the last time we see this list. I mean, I'll never see it again, but you guys.
Okay, will you just initial the bottom of that, couple of those as a budget,
Both of them?
yeah, yeah, that would be great.
Two initials.
Yes, please.
I'll do this one. Jim can do that one.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, this is your category over here.
yeah,
And then in addition to those, these are brand new 2026 requests.
Oh, brand new request.
Yes.
There's the ploy.
the old didn't get it in budget, so I'm gonna ask for it another time,
I guess
Floyd.
this one is a little bit of a hybrid.
That's correct.
So the sheriff's office asked for $100,000 for a boiler. And they received the quote back. Bryce sent this to me and the quote is for $131,000. They
Hmm.
only asked for 100. So if you'd like to approve this or not, this request is for the additional 31,000.
That's not at Kiesel, is it?
No. So that's that one.
Okay.
So it's a 31,000 out of capital improvements.
Yes. This request, is more or less just more of a housekeeping, budget request. This was in relation to $50,000 that we received as a distribution from MIDA.
Yeah, that's
So,
my favorite 50
so we
grand.
need to actually
Receive it.
and then
Yeah.
move the funds so we can spend them.
Hold on, let's go back.
We're receiving money on this one.
No, this is money coming in.
Why is there such a disparity on the boiler when they had requested 100 in their budget? And we gave it to them, did they just not do their homework? I just was
Don't know.
wondering.
I don't know.
You can have that conversation with Bryce. He will fill you in. But yeah,
Chris was surprised that they only asked for 100,000. I pulled up their budget and confirmed that they had only asked for 100.
yeah, there was a discrepancy in what should have been asked.
So does
for.
Bryce
There-
think this boiler needs to be replaced?
Yes, yeah, it absolutely needs to be replaced.
They
It
just
it was
didn't
planned
approve
for, they just did not ask for
Do
it.
we ask Bryce or do we ask Julie?
Talk to Bryce.
first.
Bryce
Okay.
knows.
It's an option.
But they came up with a number, not Bryce.
Well,
What,
Bryce didn't come up with the number,
yeah,
but people under Bryce might have had a hand in that, and
okay,
so.
There is an option to
Oh,
take,
Yeah.
I think, $12,000 off of that price if you don't add something into it, but Bryce said that that probably would just cause us problems down the line, so. And then the final budget change has to do with our flood control budget. And if you recall, the flood control budget request this year, they had two asks for some studies, two different studies. They
yeah,
originally funded one and not the other. Your request, Commissioner Frower, is to go back to the state and ask them for some money. They did that. We ended up just taking both of those requests off, but in the meantime, it didn't leave them any money to finish the projects that they already had. And so this request actually has three parts to it. One of them is for the Industrial Park Pond project. One of them is to finish the miscellaneous projects that we have ongoing for flood control. And the other one is a final flood control study that I'm hoping Sean can speak to.
Well,
And you can line out any one of those. I put them all separate if you want to just fund some and not the others.
yeah, I would have Ashley and Gary come speak to that final study.
Okay. There is plenty of money in the flood control budget. Like I said, we don't have any projects listed there today for 2026. And we have that as a separate line item on our taxes. We do collect a couple $1 million every year. So
so what's the industrial park?
We have a pond out behind one of the businesses out there. And it's before it gets to the horseshoe pond, but the outlet structure is broken. It does not function the way that it should. So that pond overflows quite regularly and causes some problems. So
Okay.
we've wanted to fix that for a little while. It's a regional pond.
Okay, well,
where is it exactly?
I could pull it up. and
Just
show you.
tell me.
You know where there's a guy that stores trucks out there. It's
gotta be a friend of yours.
it's fairly close to 2700 north.
Okay,
It's toward that side of the park on the west side.
okay.
Well, I don't wanna be the hard end on
Exactly
this,
where-
but
Okay, you know where I'm talking
And
about.
it's just on the, actually on the
I
north side
want
of
more information on
2700.
this,
Last one.
on the last one,
Exactly.
and probably even that.
just line through that one, yeah,
Okay,
on the, in
And,
that.
and the second one?
It's more of a retention
Or we
base.
could just hold on that one.
Yeah,
and we
it's-
can
I'd
come
like
back.
to hold on this till I've talked to
the
Gary.
western drain comes into it and then flows out of it.
Yeah, no, when I meet with,
But there's a lot of
So
steep
this-
in that.
Water source
Wait,
that,
I was gonna say like a 15-minute session, but
the
if
land
you just
use-
wanna meet with them.
when I meet with, I could
You
ask
know
them,
about that?
I just need more information.
Yeah, Gary and those
But I
guys.
wanna find out about the
They're talking
study.
about.
You missed some good stuff.
Oh, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. We'll hold on the flood control until you get more information, and then we can revisit it.
And still, we're just at the end of the session this week. Until we dig into the bill of bills and find out there might be another,
You bet.
some money that we might go after, so
Okay,
I hate to authorize that till we sweep every corner.
Okay, I'm done, that's all.
Wow, is that it?
Motion to adjourn.
Wake up.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're now adjourned.
I just